Good afternoon, Waice. How are you?
I'm doing great, First John. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries at all. So, folks, salam. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I just wanted to bring my really good friend, Waice on to talk a little bit about a recent situation that transpired. And before we get started, Waice, if you could just briefly introduce yourself, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, First John. So basically, my name is Weiss. I'm 28 years old. I am an Afghan American man, and I am a professional photographer. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also an exercise physiologist that is certified by the ACSM. And and I'm
Awesome.
also an activist that is trying to support my people back at home and support the Afghans that have come via that came as refugees. So I want to be able to support both the people back home, and that is my number one priority at the moment.
Awesome, Waish. And I know that you and I have been heavily involved, and we'll talk a little bit later about some of the things we've been doing through the New Jersey Coalition for Afghan Refugees. We've been having a lot of morale boosting events, and mashallah, you've been very active and actually a part of every single event we've had. So, very proud and happy to have you here today. And we don't want to take too much of your time. But so recently there was a interview that you were on with Nazika John, and she asked you some questions, and then she prompted you to speak in Dari. And when she prompted you to speak in Dari, there this video essentially, I guess, went viral within the last 72 hours, and there were a few things that I just kind of wanted to talk about, a lot of different issues that came up with regards to this video that we felt would be really important to kind of get your viewpoint and kind of see. So the video starts, the one that I saw, with you saying that Daram, or I have pain, right? And I was curious if you could, which we all know as Afghan Americans, we most of us think in English and speak in English. And I would love to give you the opportunity to be able to talk about that pain and to really express in the language that you feel most comfortable in, whatever that is, to kind of discuss that and give us some insight on that.
Absolutely, and thank you for bringing this up because I feel like narratives are being painted on me that are not true. There are influencers that are putting their 2 cents in about the situation when they haven't even reached out to me, and are talking about the situation when they have no idea who I am and where I come from and what I've done for the community. But the situation when I feel the most pain is very clear, and so is very clear and objective. Our women are not being able to be educated. Our women are not being taught how to value themselves. Our men are being systematically killed and targeted, and our children are not safe outside in the streets of Afghanistan. And the problem that I'm having today, and why I'm having the most pain especially today moving forward, is our people are being brutalized, and our people are also being oppressed, and they're not being able to have the freedoms that they deserve, and their rights have been taken away. It feels essentially like they're living in a prison. So the issue that I have is the silence, the people who are watching this happen and not saying anything. And I don't want to particularize certain people who are not saying anything because I feel like this is a humanitarian issue. So that's why I have so much pain seeing the people that I love, the people that are from my homeland, the people that actually are part of me, that are being systematically oppressed by a broken system. And that's why I have the pain. And I want I I went past my victimhood, because in America I've been I've been really a victim of racism, and I was born in the pre-post 9/11 era, so I've gotten every single racist comment in the book. I've been discriminated against. I've been marginalized, but that kind of pain is nothing compared to the pain that my people are feeling today and the freedoms that they don't have. And I want to be a voice for them. And that's why I'm here today.
Thank you so much, Vice John. And we as a community admire you and admire your work and admire your drive. You're young, you're mashallah active, and these are the kinds of things that are game changing. It's the youth right now that are going to be putting in the work and planting the seeds that will help um, grow, hopefully, and come into fruition a lot of change, right? So we appreciate it, and we know that your work is definitely making an impact. Um, so so thank you so much for sharing, your pain and some of the things that you've been going through, your struggles. And I know also, as somebody who was an adult during 9/11 and kind of lived through that experience, I think that for me also was a life-changing experience to date, made me who I am today. And what makes me sad, my dad, right, when I'm listening to you right now, is that it's not enough that people from the outside discriminate. It's not enough that people from outside our communities and our faith and our people have Islamophobia and have anti-Afghan sentiment. But now within our community, unfortunately, what really disturbed me about some of the commentary you shared with me in this video, and how people had reached out to you and the cyberbullying and all of these things, is that essentially, you know, that's like Afghan on Afghan, and that's unacceptable. We should be lifting each other up. We should be empowering each other. And I guess I just wanted to know some of your thoughts on this identity struggle. Being an Afghan American, being raised here or born here, and essentially trying to balance the two, the hyphen, right? The hyphenated identity.
That's a great question. It's definitely something I struggled with for my entire life. Like I said before, I was born pre 9/11 and grew up as an adult, or grew up in my childhood post 9/11. So the identity crisis was really challenging because where I live in New York, I really didn't have a lot of Afghan friends. So I had to assimilate to the culture of diversity in New York City, which is a pro and con in itself. So I wouldn't change it any other way, because if I did change it, I wouldn't be who I am today. And, I realized that what that taught me was you don't have to be Muslim to see the issue going on. We all see the broken systems that are in place. But when it comes down to my identity crisis, I look at it as a positive now. Before, I used to ask myself, maybe I'm not off on enough for people. People would say, "Oh, make fun of my Dari or my Farsi because it's not as, or 1/8 of what a normal a great speaker would be." But I've lost touch a lot with the roots because growing up in America, the post 9/11 era, it's very hard to being Afghan is an intense heritage. I would say that, but it's also there's some beauty in the strength of it, because we are people who are durable. We have a supreme faith, and we believe in ourselves. And the amount of love that I've been receiving from the Afghan community just reinvigorates my spirit more than anything else. So many people have reached out to me with love and concern and kind words. And I tell myself this: the problem that I have, though, is people telling me, "What are we doing this for? We're all gonna die anyways." But I tell them, I guess that's what you tell yourself when you don't have the capacity to help others. And I've done a lot of self healing. I've done a lot of shadow work. I let go of my victimhood, and I realized that this is not about me anymore. This is about my people. So that really healed my identity crisis. That's what gave me Ghairat. That's what helped me understand how to love my culture, how to love myself, and how to love my roots. And when all those have been aligned together, that healed me tremendously. And I'm very proud to say I'm Afghan, and I'm very proud to say I'm American as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Waish John. Um, Beautiful words of wisdom. let's talk a little bit about your work. I met you on August 28th at the nationwide protest in New York City. I think I was like on my way out, and we had a really nice conversation. That was our first encounter. So if you could let the audience know, from literally from the collapse onward, what you've been involved with, that would be great.
Sure. We actually unofficially met on August 15th because you were actually there at that protest outside the UN. I saw
Yes.
you. I saw you. Yeah. I met so many Afghans because of this, and it's a blessing and a curse because of the situation, but a
Yeah.
blessing because we have that unity in our community. Everybody woke up August 15th with a complete like heart drop, and when that happened, I'm pretty sure most of the people that felt the same pain of losing our beloved country came out together to voice their opinion and show ourselves like, hey, we need to unite. And that protest really meant a lot to me because that showed that there are Afghans in America and New York City that actually do care. We do care about what's going on. And when it comes down to like what I've been doing in the past, I've been going to just virtually every protest that I could. And the reason why I have been is because I've been protesting for humanitarian rights all the time, for the Black Lives Matter movement, because I believe it's a broken system, for the feminist movement, because abortion laws in Texas are absolutely outrageous. And now Afghanistan, and I told myself, if I've been marching for if I've been marching for these specific um, beliefs that I also believe in when it comes down to the humanitarian crisis, Afghanistan was a no-brainer. I remember when protests would be on August 15th, there was like 100 people. And then a week later, it was only 10 people. We had the Sikh community actually march with us as well because we tend to forget Afghanistan is a diversified country. There's so many beautiful, diverse cultures. And Afghanistan was actually one of the only places in the world, one of the two only places in the world that actually had all seven religions coexisting. So it just comes down to a point where when I was going out and protesting and my work from there, I basically wanted to be the photographer. I wanted to be the journalist there. I wanted to cover what the media wasn't covering for Afghanistan. But luckily for me, we had a lot of allies that understood the gravity of the situation, and we had our own photographers and we had our own allies that weren't Afghan that were documenting this and allowing us to amplify our voices. So that enabled me to do my research, look at what Afghans back at home are saying, and try to amplify their voices as much as possible and show solidarity to those who are resisting and show solidarity to the men, women, and children who are civilians that are innocent and all
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. Thank you, Waishtan. I know you're being very humble, but I will tell the audience that Waishtan is at every donation pickup drive, at the concert, the fundraising concert that we had, basketball tournament that he won actually. Let's make it official, right? Mashallah, and continuously is now helping with the end the starvation and this movement that's happening in Afghanistan as far as the hunger crisis. So very much involved and a very humble individual. Waish, we are so proud of you. I know that last night I created this hashtag Be Like Waice. I hope that inshallah, when my children grow up, they can be half as good as you and everything that you do. It is, we're so happy to have somebody like you representing us. And the last thing that I will say, and then I'll let you have your last words as well, is that we really need to internally reflect, and we really need to take a step back and understand and renew our intentions and know why we're doing this. And instead of looking toward other people and what they're doing, what they're saying, we should really look inward and try the best we can. There's a lot of help out there that's needed, and just, roll up our sleeves and get busy with things like that and not negativity and toxicity. Vaishtan, any last words?
Thank you, First John, for actually giving me this opportunity to speak. And yeah, it's funny because I never really mentioned all the accolades and achievements in the recent past, but I've been living my life based on ethics and rules and morals. And I got to be honest with you, I look at all my donations and charity as just something I'm obligated to do, because my parents have taken such great care of me. My father came as a refugee in 1981, and the people that helped him tremendously have given us the opportunity to live a life that we've always imagined and dreamed. So I want to thank you for even bringing light to things I've done. But I feel like there's so much more that needs to be done. That's why there's so much improvement needed on so many levels. That's why I'm constantly changing. I'm constantly growing and constantly asking God every day for strength and clarity. Because to be a better man, or to be a better person in general, that's what you need, right? And God will give you that as much as you ask for it. And I feel like my last words is, or the few things that I want to touch upon is, basically when it comes down to the whole video, I laugh and I kind of like am proud of me, because there's so many people out there that would stay silent, that wouldn't even try, especially since their Dari or their Farsi, especially like mine, since I'm coming from a different world, is challenging. But I tried my best because I love my people so much, and I just wanted to try to show some solidarity in one way, shape, or form. And I hope they realize that in certain aspects. But I love approval, trust me, and everybody likes when good things are being like said to them. But the difference between me and most people is I don't seek approval. Because when you seek approval and you need approval, you become immobilized by it, and you live your life based on approval. And I'm so busy being and advancing confidently in my life and following in the directions of my dreams and living the life I've always imagined. I don't have time for approval. I know what my goal is, and my goal is peace in Afghanistan and the rights and freedoms of our people. So that's what's been guiding me, because that's what makes sense to me, and living my life on rules rather than ethics. I'm sorry, excuse me, the difference between ethics and rules, because we understand like some of the most despicable, disgusting acts in the world were perpetrated by the rules. And we look at Nazi Germany and what happened in Nuremberg, where the rules were being used as a justification to hurt and absolutely do terrible things to people. And what was their biggest excuse that they had? I was just doing my job. And now, when I look at today's world, I think about people like Rosa Parks, a woman in the South, a Black woman who said, "Not today." Now, remember what I'm saying about ethics rather than rules, because ethically speaking, she said, "I deserve to be sitting in the front. I'm not going to listen to the rules anymore." And she knew the rules. And even if she didn't, it was all over the place, colored here, black here. But she said, "Not today." And when she said that, I felt like that made the world of a difference. And that's why I want to live my life based on the rules. I'm sorry, excuse me. If I lived by the rules, I'd be systematically oppressed. If I live my life based on ethics rather than rules, and if it's an immoral rule, it should be immoral to obey it as well. And I think that's what we need to understand when it comes down to our lives. We need to call out immoral rules. We need to defend the ethics of human beings, and we cannot let go of the moral high ground. We need to hold on to our morals and values and ethics more than ever today. And if I can end this on what my perspective is, I want to unite the diaspora. I feel like the biggest problem with the diaspora today is we would rather fight over religion. We would rather fight over colors of a flag. We'd rather fight over Farsi or Pashto or languages. We'd rather fight over ethnic backgrounds. And we'd rather fight against resistance leaders who are trying their best to help our country, shame them and defame them. And all we're doing is, we know we lost touch with our humanity when we value things like this more than we value human lives. And if anybody got anything from my message from the previous video, is human lives are at stake right now. And in order for us to be able to unite, We need to find peace. And in order for us to unite, we need to we need to tackle oppressive systems that are continuously oppressing not only our people, but the people around the world. This is a humanitarian issue. And I want to show the world that you don't have to be Muslim to care. You just have to be a human being. And we need all the support we can get, and it's all hands on deck at this point. And that's all I have to say.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much, Waice John. And before we end, we just would like to mention, is there any charity that you want folks out there to donate to so we can really turn this as positive? Every comment how many comments did you get on this post?
I think I got 20,000 views. So
If each
I
person
think
could donate $1, those 20,000 people, we'd have $20,000.
that's right. And if I had a few charities that I trust locally, ASEAL has been doing amazing jobs for our people back at home. I'm currently in the works with the Bayet Foundation. And if you follow me on Instagram, my handle is Waice Luck. They are doing an amazing charity event raising funds for Afghan families back at home. And I would really appreciate if you would donate to those two foundations, and also the Panjshir Valley, because Miriam Masood is hosting that one. It's by the Masood Foundation, and it's also the link in my bio. And whatever you feel like the cause that you feel more the most passionate about, I would kindly and humbly ask you to donate either $1 or more, because $1 can go so far for a family who has nothing but the clothes on their backs.
Awesome. I hope that after people watch this video, those 20,000 people who commented will take the same amount of time to donate, and we can get over $20,000 over to any of these charities. Waice John, thank you again for all of your time. Keep on keeping on, and remember our hashtag Be Like Waice, and continue to do God's work. All right. All right, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Take care and be well.
Thank you, Krista John. Take care, everybody. Bye.